Hello everyone, welcome to Club of Coders YouTube channel. In today's video, we will build a advanced cool to-do app. In this to-do app, you can add to-do, you can remove to-do, you can mark it as a complete, and we will use this design, this awesome design, and we will implement this as it is. And thanks to Oliver for making this cool design, and we are using it, and I will put the link of this mm, of this design in the description if you want to check it out. And let's start building this. And we are using Next.js and Tailwind CSS to build out this project. And why we are using Next.js and Tailwind CSS? Because it is a go-to framework. It is a very beautiful framework, and it is a very developer friendly framework, we can say. And we can learn it, or if you know the basics of React and if you know the basics of CSS, then you will find it very easy to learn Next.js or Tailwind CSS. So let's start building this. So initially I have created the boilerplate code, and all the code you can found on the GitHub of Club of Coders or mine, and I will put the link of it also in the description. So let's start building this. So what we can see in this design. So there is a dashboard type, there is a navbar, there is a sidebar, and there is a center for main content. So we will build out this component by component. Okay, so let's start. So what we will do, we will divide this component into different we will divide the whole dashboard into different components. So as we have seen, first header, first the whole page, and then inside the page there is header, and after there is a sidebar and main content. So the first flex box and the main container, the big container, has the whole screen height, and inside there are two containers, the first one, this one, and this one. So these are in flex, these are in the column direction. Okay, so the property we will using our flex column, and the next division is we will use the flex row direction. So let me code this and you will find it very easy. Okay, so let's start into the building the layout of our app. So in the source directory there are pages and styles. We have installed all dependencies required for Tailwind CSS, and as you can see, and we have initialized it with the Tailwind directories, and we have configured the Tailwind config.js file, and we are using JavaScript in this project because we don't want to complicate things out with using the TypeScript. In the future clones or in the future projects we will be using TypeScript as well. Okay, so as I told you that this is a flex column initially. And the width we want is full, and the height is screen. So it means the height is full. It takes the whole width and whole height of the screen. And inside we have header component. We will build this component inside we have a header component. Okay, and after this we have our main body. Inside our main body we have a sidebar. We will build this out, and we have another division, or we can say it a main home container. Okay, so let's make a components directory or component folder, and let's make header. And I am using some extension to help me to code better and fast, like for tailwind css you can use this tailwind css IntelliSense. It will suggest you the styles, and also I am using the React snippets, which will help to generate the basic component for the React component. So this one, ES7 plus React plus React native snippets. It is very helpful building out the components. So if there is our header component, and RAFC is a short command we use to build this component, like basic boilerplate. Okay, and this is our header, and let's give it some class name. So we want our header to be h16, and if you hover over it, so h16 means 4 rem, and we want the width full, and if you can see this, there is a little bit of shadow, so there is a class name we can use depending upon this. So we are using this one, and BG we are taking black as of now, and it is a header, and we will import this into the main over page. And now we will build the sidebar. Again we will use RAFC command, and this is our sidebar. So if we observe, so what is happening here, our main class, so it will take the whole width of the screen, and the height is also full, and it is flex column, so it is in flex row direction. Flex direction is row, so this column and this column, so these are in flex row direction. So flex row is default, so we don't have to write this one. It is fine if we use it or not. And there is sidebar, and there is main content. So we want our sidebar to take like smaller width, or we can say 15% of our page or 16% of our page, and the remaining one remaining will be our main content. So it will be like there is a class for the percentage width, so 15-16% is fine for the sidebar, so it will be fine. And we want height to full screen, so h full, and inside the, so we will give it BG black, and we will like use the 60, so it is the opacity, so it will fade like 60% opacity, so like this one. And we want the text to be white, so this one. So this is our sidebar. We will put the content inside, wait for some time, and this is sidebar, and this is there is our main content. So our sidebar is taking 16% of width, so remaining width is for our main content. So it is 1 by 6, so we will use 5 by 6, so it is 83% of our page, and we will use bg grayish kind of thing, like bg gray 800 is okay, and we want h full and overflow hidden. We don't want to overflow the text, and inside this we want to center our this container. So to center this container, we will use the flex justify center and item center, so it will center out our main center content. And we want the text to be white, so we are using here white, and that's all. This is our center container. This is our center container. So this is our basic boilerplate. And if we start our app now, so here we are using yarn. So you get to know about what we are using. So if there is package log.json file, means we are using npm, or otherwise if there is yarn log file, that means we are using yarn as a helper tool to install our dependencies. So we will run the yarn run dev to get start our application to the local host. Okay, so we can see our app what we have built. So now, so as you can see, this is our sidebar, this is our center container, and this is our header. Okay, so this is not responsive as of now. We will make this responsive in further videos. Okay, and okay, let's build the our further components. So as you can see, there are some icons over here, so we will need some icons. So we can either use some SVGs from different website, or there is a cool package called React Icons, which we can install and use it, and it is very helpful, and there are a lot of icons which we can use. So as we are using yarn, so we will open the different terminal from this plus icon, and if we click over there, so yarn add React Icons, it will install this package. So it has a whole bunch of packages, whole bunch of icons which we can use. So if we want like search icon, so it has a lot of different search icons which we can use in our project. Okay, so it is installed, and if we see, so we will start from header, then we will move to sidebar, and then we will build the center container of our app. So let's build the header first. So if we look the header, as here the header has two divisions or two sections, we can say. So this is one section, this is whole one division or one box, or this is one box. So we can divide it into the two big divisions, and we can then justify between, so it will take the whole width of our container. Okay, so what I am saying is, we will use two divisions here. Okay, and we can see there are these three icons, and there are also three icons. So I have already selected the icons to save our time. So please select your favorite icon. Okay, and this for the three bars, this for the dashboard icon, and this for the collection, and all the other icons are there. And okay, and so there are two divisions. Okay, and these both the divisions has we can say flex and flex in the row, and we want to give equal space to all of them, so we will use the space x property and we will give 5 space, so it will give us like 1.25 rem after after the first division inside of this division. So here are the different three types of. First is the three horizontal line, then dashboard, then collection. Okay, so here again 3 divisions, and inside our division there are again 2 divisions which we can see. So here we will use the go3 bars, and inside this there are again 2 divisions. What for the 2 division? Because we want to center this along the vertical axis. That's why we are using 2 division, and we will use the flexbox properties to center it alongside the vertical container. So we will use the this one dashboard icon, and here we will write the dashboard, and here again we will use the 2 divisions. So as you can see, collections, for collection we are using this icon, folder 1, and for this we will use collections, and we will style them. And if you see this, these are not visible because we haven't given the text color, so that's why they are not visible. So we will give so instead of using all the divisions, we can benefit from the semantic web. So what is semantic web? Semantic web helps Google to optimize our website for the search experience. So if we use header, because this is a header component, so there is a tag called header in the HTML. So if you use this, it helps search engines to find out which is the header of our website. So like this. Okay, so inside our header there are 2 containers, as I have said, and in first one is this one, and this one, and another one is this one. So it also has four of divisions. These divisions has 4 of divisions, or we can say 4 of things. First one is plus icon, then search icon, then bell icon, then the avatar image. So div into 4 for the 4 icons. So here we will use the FA plus or BS plus icon. Okay, and here we will use the BS search icon for the search icon, and here comes the bell icon. So here one is the bell, and here this is the avatar image. So we can use the next image tag to like benefit from the next image optimization and the other things. But here for simplicity we are just declaring it like a small circle, and we will use the PG white to define like and rounded full property to define the border radius, and the border radius is 50% for the circle. if we are using CSS, then border radius 50%, it means we want the division to be the circle. So if we now see, it will not be able to, we will not be able to see, so we will give it some color to text, because the icons use text color properties and adapt the color based upon them. So text gray 400. So now our icons will look, so these all are icons, like now they are looking ugly, but we will make them look pretty very soon. So as I said, we will use a justify between tag. So and also flex. Now they are like in the whole width, they are taking the whole width, and we will give them some padding of 4. Okay, and we can give them padding more than 4. We can give them like 8 is fine. And here, let's come here. This is also, we use here flex, and these are common elements. So to reduce our code repetition, we can map through the different icons and different navigation navigation menu, but for the simplicity we are just hard coding them. So flex to center out the container, we know how to center a container or center a div. Just do this, and to give this one some so we will use the W4 and H4. So one rem height and one rem width to over all the icons we will give them. So we can just simply first copy and paste this, save our time. Okay, and now you can see this element, this icon is centered, but not these one. So we can center them as well. And first let me give them flex. So here you can see all the items are centered, and to center them, now they are all centered, as you can see. We can also give them, so now they are look same. Okay, and further, okay, so now the time is to, so this I said that this is a repetitive code, so we can reduce this into, so we will reduce the code in the future, but as of now we are just building out these things and nicely, and these are all centered, and we will give some space. I think it is fine. Yes, it looks good. Space x2, so we will give it here also. So nice. So I think our header is complete, and to just give it a little more neat pics, we will use some text hovering cool animations. So how we can do this? We can do that by simply saying that hover, after hovering, give the text white, and we want this to be transition. Okay, so we can give the transition class name also here, like this. So it will smoothly hovering effect, cool hovering effect. So we can give this all other icons also. So now all our icons have this one. Instead of giving to there, we can give this class name to the parent of both the so that our text will also appear to be nice. Okay, here is good. Now, so as you can see, this one is faster and this one is little bit slow because we haven't used a transition class name here. That's why we'll use the transition class name here also. Now it will look more nicer. Now let's design this plus icon as it is shown here. We will change the colors. As of now we are just building this. At last we will redefine all the our code and declutter all of code. So to design our plus icon, we will give it text white and transition also. To, as you can see now, if you point over this plus icon, the pointer is not like cursor, so we want cursor pointer. So this one, if you can see, and now we can use this thing to center out this thing. So to use gradient as a background color, we use bg gradient to top right from, as you can see, the pink is the color. So as you can see, but we want it a little bit bigger, so we will do, instead of 4 we will do it 6. So now it looks good, and we can also do some animation after hovering. So if we hover, so scale it 105, so scale it a little bit, and we want it to be smoothly, so we will give it transform and transition to. So if we see this now this is a little bit more smoother than previous time, and we can see these icons and name are looks smaller than the mock one, so we will make them bigger by, okay, now they are looking good, I think. And these are grayish one and these are white. Okay, we will make the nitty-gritty changes at the last. So they all are white, I think. So we don't have to do all the things. So now they look good, and we can make it more bigger, the avatar image. Nice. So now the header is completed. Now let's come to the sidebar. Okay, so header is completed, and now we will build the sidebar. These 3 bars look a little bit smaller, so we will increase the width and height to 5. So yes, now it looks good. Now the time is to build the sidebar. So as we can see here, the sidebar has collections and then navigation menu items. So, and if you click on the menu item, then it will go to the page and show the related to-dos of that collection. So to do that, we will not make our code too much repeatable like this. We will just use some more that I have prepared. So if we see, I have already prepared the boilerplate things. So we are importing link from next link, and we are using these three icons, and we are using this one. So menu items, so first one is school, and second one is personal, third one is work. So as given here, we are using them here as well. Okay, and if you can see there, so we have we can define a S3 class to collections, and then we have a division which we can define flex column, and width is full. We can give some margin to bottom and top, so m by 4, and all the child divisions we can give some space between them from space y property. And we will just, so as you can see, GitHub Copilot is giving me nice suggestions. So I will not use that because it will not help you learn things how I am doing this. So we will map through all the items, and we will map through all the items, and we will use this link. So here link is item.url as we have defined in our menu items. So it is giving us an warning, so missing key props. So we always use some kind of unique key while mapping our elements, because it helps React to like we can say identify a division or an element in the DOM. So React creates a virtual DOM, and we will learn all these things in the further videos. Let's remember this, that we need a key, unique key. So here as a unique key we can use a name, because the name is different all over. So we can use item.name, and we can now define our classes, and we will use the division. Why we are using the anchor element? Because the link attribute should have a as a descendant element, or otherwise if we will not use this, we have to pass a parseref attribute to the link. So do either of them, but I think the defining the a inside of link is a better approach of doing this. Okay, and we will define some classes here. First, let's item.icon, and we will give it some class name of like width and height, simple, and we will use S3 to define first division is for the icon, this one, and the second division is for the item name. So instead of division we are using S3, so here we can use S2. Okay, and we can use item dot name, as we can see here, and we can give it some classes. We will give some classes in further. Let us see what is it, what it looks like. So we will build these pages out, and we will learn how to create dynamic pages like this, to identify the slug and make our page based upon that slug. So here are the collections, and we will give some padding to it. First we start from collections, and we will give some axis padding, and we will give some top padding, and we give it color for grayish, as you can see that, and as we can see, and this one is flex, because we want our both the icon and name to be in one line. So we will use here flex, and to center the elements alongside the y-axis we use item center. If we don't use it, if you see, you will see that they are not aligned to y-axis, but if you use the items center class name, they are aligned in the same along the y-axis. And we will give some space along the x-axis. Also we need some kind of padding here, padding left. So we will give some padding, left padding, and cursor is, we want pointer, and after hovering we want BG to be black, light black. So we will use black, and opacity is 20. And here we are declaring color, so icon BG color, so we will use that color to change to to have a different icon, different color, so it will look much nicer. So let's give this some font weight of medium, and let's make this bigger, text MD. So what does text MD means? It is, if we see here, there are classes text X, extra small, base, LG, and XL. So here are all the classes, so we can use LG to make it bigger. And here we are depending the classes on the JavaScript, so we will use the this operators and these colons. So we want icon to be rounded, so we are using rounded, and the color is dependent upon icon BG color. And again we need some padding inside of that, and we need our icons to be a little bit more above, so now they looks nicer. And you can see this one also needs some kind of Y padding, because it is not looking nicer. So we'll give some Y padding to this also here. So if we are hovering this, so we will give some kind of Y padding to it, 4, so it looks nicer. Yes, now it looks good. And the background color is not matching. We will use the background color to be some kind of sidebar, bg black 60. Okay, now it looks good, but it is too much dark, so we will use like 80. Okay, it is not looking good. No. So I have copied the color from the mock design. You can use the text. You can use any kind of Chrome extension which we can use to extract colors from the website, or you can inspect element and check which color is using. So now it looks a little bit more closer to our simple design or mock, you can say. And the collection is little bit off, so we'll use like 400. Now it looks good. Nice. So we have designed the nav bar, we have designed the sidebar. Now is the time to move to the main container here. Now we will move forward with creating the main content of our app. So this one. So now we will create the main section. So for this we will create a folder inside our pages directory, which means if we go to the collections slash any slug, so it will come to this component or next page. So we can call it a collection page. So collection page is what? Okay, I name it as TS. So collection page is where we will see all our to-dos for a particular collection. Okay, so now if we will if we click over here collections slash schools, so it will take to what it's saying, not default text, because we haven't saved it. Now we save it. If we refresh, now it will render the page. Okay, so here comes the basic part, or we can say here comes the good part. So we want this basic structure, or we can say layout, to be here, and we don't want to make our code repeated again and again. So we will make a separate component called layout, and we will use that component to in this page and render out the things we want here. Okay, so now we will create a separate component called layout, and here layout. Okay, and here all the children's keep in mind that we call this prop is children. If you define another name like components or something, this will not work. This will only work when you pass down the children prop here. And now we will use the index.js files which we have. So like this is a basic structure for our website, so we can copy it over from here and we will paste it here, and we will import them. So to import directly, we have a shortcut in Mac. You can press Ctrl plus command, so it will search and it will import. Ctrl plus space and it will import them. Okay, and here comes our children's. Any component we want to render out will be rendered out here. And let's save this, and if we move towards the flex, let's remove this and layout. So if we print here hello world, so if you see that it is hello world. Okay, so this means we have separated out our layout component So we can use this a here also. So now if you go to school page, you will see collection page. Okay, so this is the thing I want to show you. This benefits us from not repeating our code again and again. Now let's remove unused imports. Okay, and now we will build this collection page. We can type it here, anything like please click all the to-do list. So here it is, this one, and we will click to the school, and now we will build this part. So as you can see here, we have a division. Inside this division, as our to-dos grow, it will grow towards the down, and we want to fixed. We want this height to be max, like we can give this a maximum of height less than like 80% or 70% of the screen, and we want to be it's fixed inside the screen, not overflowing. So we'll create the structure like that, and also we will create a flex column, and we will make the content inside it. So let's begin. So if we move towards luck, we will make the things here. So we have a division. I am using the prettier extension to format my code automatically. You can use that also. It's pretty helpful. So we have flex, we can say, and we want our width to be full, and but we don't want to be to let it go of flow all over the screen. So we will define a maximum width. So we can define maximum width of there are some options, so we will choose like XL is fine, I think. And if we have a lot of to do, then it will overflow. So we will define overflow scroll, overflow photo Y. We don't want to overflow it by X direction, that's why. And we want maximum height to be somewhat 70% of the screen off. So there is a bit hack in the tailwind CSS to use custom CSS. So we can make the custom CSS inside these brackets, and let's give some margin and then padding. Now as we have created, and it is flex column, and we will give some y direction space of, let's say, 8. Now it is ready, and now we will define the each row, and each row we can make the classes flex row, and define the classes as well. And now we will make the division, and here I'm using some icons which I will import directly. and you can find them on React Icons website here. So I think my net is little bit slow, so it's not working. Yeah, my net is slow. So let's forget this, and I have already input. I have already selected, and this will the icons we will use: BS plus and back, and these three icons. Okay. So here we have a division. We will make it a flex row default, item center, justify center, to center it alongside the main axis of the flex, and inside of it we have a whole. This is the whole division, and inside we have other two divisions which will define this section and this section. So there are two divisions, and inside it there is one division for icon. We will give it some class name of width4 and h4, and then next section we will use s3, and here we will use collection name. So currently we are hard coding, and in some time we will make it like server side, or make it to match it with the slug. So like if there is a school, then school, then personal. So we will use get server side props to take the slug from the URL query. Okay, so if you save this, you will see some kind of this, and we don't want to be center alongside the y-axis. So what we will do, instead of, if we go to the layout section, instead item center and justify center. Okay, so if you see item center, we don't want to be center the items alongside the y-axis, so we will make the start, so it will look at the top of the screen. We have defined the height, and it will look the top of the height here. Okay, and now we have another division, and here we will use the three dots. We will also give some width and height to this. Icon. To center it out, we are using this. These are the go-to classes. You should remember this. This is the very nicer way to center out these things. So we want this also to be centered, and let's give some x direction space, and I think it should, we will give some space to this one, and this is fine. I think if we will see this, yes, and we will justify between this thing. Instead of justify center, we will justify between, so it will take the whole width of our screen like this, And now the comes part for this. We will make it rounded a little bit, and we will give it some color, background color of grayish 200 and 20 opacity, and we will give some padding so it will look nicer like this. Now we will make some font weight border for the collection name and make it somewhat big. And to capitalize, there is a class capitalize which will make our collection name. If we like, when we will fetch this item from server side rendering, then it will come like this. So to capitalize or to make the first letter of this word capital, we will use this capitalize class. So like this. This is looking good, I think. So we will move to the next section, which will add a task, and let's move towards. So now this is a division, and inside it there are two things. There is a plus button, and there is input field. So what we will do is we will make a division and a form, and form will on submit. Form will do take the new task and submit it to the to do over to do list. On submit, handle submit. We will define this function after. Nice. And as we can see, this is flex item center to center it out alongside the y-axis. Then we will give some padding and some space alongside the x direction, which will make our divisions, or we can say this two. And we will give some transition because and we will get transform, and we will make like on hover, please scale to 105, and we will give a border of light border of border grade 700, and we will make it a rounded little bit, so 2 XL, and we will make it a group. So there is a property in tailwind, so we can group the elements, and in the children's divisions we can use group hover or group focus tailwind classes to tell the tailwind that this is a group, and if I hover on any element of this group, then do something about this. So we can define the classes and tell the it is very nice. And here our icon +1, and we will give it some width and height of 5, and let's give it some padding, and also we will give it some color BG pink of 500, and make it rounded. Cursor should be pointer, and on active means if you click on this, scale 90, and if you hover over it, scale 105. So if you see, if you hover, so this is moving like this, but we will fix this as we build this component also. So we will give some classes to this also. We want it to be full, taking full width, and inside the form we have an input of text, and it should take the to do. ID is also to do. This is not necessary, but we will define it, and we will make our placeholder to be add a task. We will give some class names of with full. So as you can look here, it is working nicely, but we want outline should be null, and the background color should be transparent, and we want to give it whole division a border of something. So we have given the border color, but we haven't used the border. Now it is looking fine, and we will make the BG background transparent, and outline should be null. Placeholder, so we can define our placeholder color. What should be our placeholder color? So we can make it grayish 400, and I told you, like, we can use the group hover properties, and if we hover over this, let's make the, and we can do anything by using group hover, and we can use any class of tailwind after. So it will, if you hover over this, it will do something, but we are not using anything here, so let's move. So let's not use this group over here. So like this, now this is doing good, and let's stop this hovering effect, because we don't want this, because we are already applied on plus, and it will look nicer, so we don't need here. Now it looks good, and now if you are looking that this is selecting our text, if you click on the plus icon, this is selecting our text. To prevent this, we can use select none property, or select none class in the tailwind. Say select none, and now it will not select the classes. Now it is looking nice, and we will further move forward with creating the to do section. So there are two sections, task 1 and completed task, and I have some more data which I will use, and you can copy it from the link in the description. And let's build this next section. So we will do the form submission of after. Let's create the structure first, and so this is the second section. Now we will create the third section, which has two divisions. And the completed task and not completed task. So we can call it S3 task, and let's hard code this as S23, and we have another division, and we have some to do's over here. So we will mark it as a to do, or we can use the test data here. So we will another component here. Here comes the completed task. I have some mock data, so if I will create a mock data.json file, and inside I have created some mock data which we will use. over here, and we will, so it has id, name, description, completed, is completed, or related task. We will not use the related task and render out these things, but we will make this as simpler as possible. So let's import this and use a state to make this stateful. So we will import this mock data from mock data.task, and we will import the use state from React. Now we have tasks, and we will render the task here. So task.map, it will give us a task, and we will render out all the tasks here. And we have defined the division. Okay, so it is not working like that. So it is saying us to use a unique key, so we will use task.id, which we have defined over here. We will give it some classes. So if you look at this, the classes are similar to this one. So it is flex, items to be centered, some padding, some margin, and rounded, we will make it rounded more, and bg of, we can say, I have already copied the color over here, so let's use this, how it looks. And we will make another component, or we can say to do item, and so let's create another component to do item. So it is the to do item we will use, and we will pass down the props here, tasks, set tasks, because we want to, like, here if we mark the to do as completed, then we have to set the task and do the things manipulation. So that's why we are importing set task and tasks, and the single task. So we will pass down the props. We can also create a global state or something like that, but to keep the apps as simpler, we are using the local states. So if we save this and if we see, so this will look like this. Now let's design this one. So we have task, and so if we see here, there is a checkbox, customize checkbox. We will see how to create a customized checkbox, and there is a title, and that's all we will create as of now. We will not create nested to-dos or something. We will make these nested to-dos and advanced to-dos in future videos. So instead of defining the division over here, we can also move this inside the inside our this one. Okay, so we can use this here like this. So it looks much cleaner than previous one, and the result is same as it looks. So now we have and this one. So we have two divisions over here. First one is for the checkbox and second one is for the title or the name of to do. So, or we can also call it as label for our input of type checkbox. So here we have a input of checkbox, and we can call it as its name as a to do task dot name, and we can give id task dot id, and we have a label and HTML for task dot id, and we will give it task dot name. This is this line. So if you click over here, so it will mark this as check or uncheck. So we will make it controlled. We will make it controlled by our state, local state, and we will give it some space. X of 2 is fine, I think. Or I think 4 will look good. Yeah, now it looks good. And now if you see, these are centered. Yes, we make it them center by using item center. Nice. Now to make our input custom input, we will make a division, and inside the division we will give this checkbox, or we will give this checkbox class. We will make this input of checkbox hidden by using opacity of 0, and if you see, there is no input of checkbox type here, and we will give it a position of absolute, so that it will not interrupt our other divisions or other icons over here, and we will give it a relative, so it will we will give the class name of relative to it. So what it does, it is this checkbox is absolute positioned relatively to this division, and now we will use the another division, which is the actual checkbox we want to make, and we will use the BS check icon over here. We will give it class hidden. We only want to show it when the input or the checkbox is checked. We don't want to show it always, and we will give it some height and width, and we make it rounded, and we will give it some border of, or first we want to center it, so we will use some center magic of the flag box, and we will give the same width and height as we have given to the child icon, and we will use the BG transparent, and we will give some border of, let's say, border of 2, and border of pink 500, and we also want it to be rounded. So if you see, the checkbox is looking good, but if we click over this is not getting checked because we haven't customized our classes. So if this input field is checked, make it look like block, or remove the hidden class from this icon. So to do that we have to write some custom CSS classes, and we can write it over here. So for this we will define layer and utilities, and inside we have input, and if the input is checked and we have the division alongside with it, so we called it as a alongside input division alongside with checkbox. So we will use this one, and there is a division, and we want to apply some classes, so we will use apply directive of tailwind. We will give border 0, we will give some color over here, bg pink 500, and if input is checked and the alongside division and inside there is a svg icon which we have used over here, this one. So make it look as a block, so we will use a block. Now our part is complete. Now you see we can check it or uncheck it by clicking over here, and if you see we can't, okay, we can click over here. We are not able to click over here because we haven't centered this one also. So we also give width and height of 6 to make it. Now if we click over here, now it is working nicely. So we have created our custom checkbox and it is working fine. Now we will give it default checked value to task dot is completed, as we have defined in the mock data is completed. So if it is completed, it will be checked, and if it is not, it will be not. So if we refresh, so like look at this. So the third one is completed and the two are not. So this is a to do we have done, and we want also to make this name look to line throw, or we can say strike throw. So to do that, we can use customized tailwind classes for here, and we can use backticks, and let's give it some class names first. Font light, select none, and now we want some logic over here, so we will use $sign and curly braces. Task dot is completed, then if it is so, then line throw, otherwise do nothing. So if we save this, okay, so I think it's good. So if we see, like, this is completed, so it is striking through the words. Now we will use a reference to this checkbox ref. We will create a new reference, const checkbox reference, by using the use ref hook from the React. And what we will use to uncheck or check this one. So on change, if this on change, then we will make the on change handler, and we will call this function over here. We will first create a copy of our tasks. Why? Because we don't want to mutate our state directly. In React, we always create a deep copy or deep clone of our state and then mutate the state. We can't directly mutate the state. If we do, then the changes are not get reflected instantly, or this will not work properly. So now we will map through it, and this is task, and what we will do, we will mark the task which we have selected to check to completed or not. So to do this, if t.id means the task id is equal to our current task id, then return all the things as it is but is completed to be checkbox refs dot current dot checked. Simple is that. Else return the t as it is, and we will then set the task to task copy. So now like this we will handle our checkbox. So if we see, so it will give us some kind of error. So why is that? Let me getting checked. So why it is happening? Okay, we have inputted wrongly here. Now it will work, I think. If we will mark like this, it is working. And if we will mark this, now you can see we can mark the to-dos as completed or not completed. So now all the to-dos are shown in the task list as simple to-dos, but we want to show the completed here and the uncompleted here. So to do this, we will filter out the completed and uncompleted to-dos. So to do that, let's move to the slug section or the collection/slug sections, and we will use this here. And let's move it to the top. So all the to-do tasks, we will use the use memo hook, because it will only render when the task changes. So if we click on the task is completed, then it will automatically re-render and it will make our UI changes. But if we not use this, then it will not get memoized and it may run in similar performance issue for our application. That's why we are using this one, and task.map, or we can filter out the tasks which are completed, and the task dot is completed, and which are not completed, and we can make the completed task here, and we can take it over here. So we can use it same as it is here, and instead of task we can use to do task, and here we can use say completed task, and here we can say to do task dot length, and here we can say completed task dot length. Like this, and use memo is not defined because we haven't imported it from React. Now it will work. If you see, we can mark this as completed. If we mark this completed, this will show in the completed section, and if you mark incomplete, it will show in the task section, remaining task section. So it is working nicely, and nice, this is working nice. And if you want to add a task, then where is the form? This is the form, okay, and BS plus icon, and we can on click and I'll submit. Or we can just call this like this, and we have here event, and we will prevent default. We will use event.prevent default to prevent the default behavior of the browser to refresh the page after subform submission, and we will use a state to maintain, or we can say new to do, new task, or it is empty near now, and we will make this one here. So it value is new task, and on change set new task, we have password event.target.value. So here we have the access, so let's log to the console what value are we are getting, new task. Let's see, if we go to console and if we press the enter, we can see hello printing over here, and if we click over the plus, we also see. So we can either use plus or we can hit the enter to submit our form, and if we submit, then we have to check that if the new task is not empty, so we can say if not new task, then return simply. And now we can set the task, and we will use the previous task callback, and inside we will use previous tasks, and new task name is new task, and ID is, we will give this random ID math.floor math.random into 1 2 3, so it will not we are making it bigger so that the IDs are not clashed, and it's completed. We will make it false, and description also we will make it a new task, and we can give it a new descriptions also. So here like this. So if we see, if we push enter, it is being added to our to-do list. Hello world again. So now like this, and we can see the scroll bar over here. because we have already defined our overflow scroll property, overflow y auto. So where it is, overflow y auto, here it is. So it is because the list is getting bigger, it is being like that, and we can make it much bigger, like 80%, so it will look much nicer, or we can make it 90%, so it looks nice. Hello world, again, now it looks, but let's keep the height as 70% so that it won't make our other components look a little smaller or something. So now it's working, and if we click on the other sections, we are not able to see the other sections here. So to do that, we will use server side props to get the slug. So export async function and get server side props. We are using get server side props. It gives as a query parameter here, and we can return props collection name. We can use query.slug. This slug is the one which we have defined over here. So here, if we can take our collection and we can see what we are getting over here. Collection. So now if you refresh this, you are getting school. If you click over here, we are getting personal work. So we can use this collection to render dynamic content over here. So we can use this. So if we click over here, personal school work, so like this, it is working perfectly. So hi there. And to look it much better, what we will do, we will make our header color similar to the design one, which is this one, and I have already copied the color from the here, so we will make it like look this one, nice. And sidebar color is somewhat okay, it is already been defined over here, nice. And for the slug, or for this section, what we will do, we will make the color of this is over here in the layout section. Instead of VG gray, we will use this one. So now if you can look, this looks much better and much beautiful than previous one. And hey, we have created the to-do list app and it's working nicely. So that's all. I will push this code to the GitHub. You can find over there, and so please subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for watching this video.